Okay, we are having Sobhagya Grover with us. 9 band in speaking, 9 band in listening, and 7 each in writing and reading. Okay, so Sobhagya, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So first is what is the significance of fashion?
It is, I think, the best way to describe fashion is the sign of times. Also, for a fun fact, fashion is a French word. In French, it means the times. The reason why fashion is evergreen and is always developing and changing, and we see with the time there's a new style coming on, and there's, if you're not wearing that, you're out of time. You need an update. So fashion, by its nature, it's I think it's a good way of telling what. Okay, we take a picture. If we 10 years down the line, if we just pick up a picture, oh, this girl is wearing this or this guy is wearing that. So roughly it's the 2000 something era. Oh, he's wearing that. This is definitely the 60s. So I think that's good. Historically accurate. Like fashion can make you be able to guess what time frame you're looking at.
Okay.
That's kind of
Yes.
interesting.
Who are more crazy for fashion, men or women?
Well, as per my notion, girls are more prepping to wear new style of clothes because they think that they should get updated time to time. That's why, as per my notion, the girls are more fashionable.
Okay. So do you think fashion changed with the time? Yeah.
Quite certainly, sir. There is obviously the geographical reasons, the metaphysical reasons. Like it is now generally hotter in Sirsa, as in Haryana as an area is gradually getting hotter. So we see a trend in maybe the kind of clothes, the material that is being used is slightly thinner from before. We will see like fashion is not only changing; it affects how we live and wear our clothes on a daily basis, and that's the case with every place as far as global.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm just changing the topic.
No problem.
We are coming to books.
Okay.
Just talk about the value of books.
So things like culture, etiquettes, behavior, history, books are to be maintained, are to be preserved. There is a reason. Like fashion is a sign of whatever times we are alive in. Books happen to be a very good depiction of what era that book has been written in. So there was a subject in my college. It was called art appreciation. It was not just about films. It was not just about paintings. It was telling us why art should be like. There is a person who stares at a painting for 3 hours, and then there is a person who doesn't even look at it for 3 seconds. The difference between these two men is that he understands that that painting is more than just strokes on a paper. That Mona Lisa, more than a picture of a woman, it is the 1882 era. It is the paints from 1800s, or maybe earlier. I could be wrong. It could be ancient.
Okay. So what are the reading habits of youth in your state?
It's scarily it's close to non-existent today. I do not see any of my friends, colleagues, friends, or people I meet on a daily basis talk about. I read this book today. You should read this book. Or have you read any book recently? Strangely, I personally have read 2 to 3 books in my life. Like other than the books that I was supposed to read for my college or school, I personally never went out and said, okay, I feel like reading a book today. Personally, it's an embarrassing state to be in. From the point where we have more books than human beings on the planet, it is a shame that an average person only reads 2 in their lifetime. There should be a little more sense of belongingness towards books, so that we not only preserve that which is past, we as the youngsters that we are zealous enough to write a book for tomorrow, for our children to come. These times have to be remembered. If we do not write books or do not like reading books in today's era, trust me, this era with us and the books that it creates will be forgotten. Sadly, it is the
Okay.
truth.
Okay. So do people read English book or books in other languages?
Well, as per my notion, people don't read the English books because they don't find it comfortable. As if I compare, sorry sir, it's very long time to be part of.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yes, you.
Same question.
Yeah, same.
Language specific. Like,
Yeah.
Basically, sir, not only it is true that if I was brought up in Haryana, we spoke about this earlier, how like vocational studies and regional mother tongue studies are made mandatory in schools. It is very natural that the children of that specific area will read more regional and local texts than the ones that come from seas apart. It is good too, like having read text from your own neighborhood or your own belonging can allow you to understand your own environment better. It is found that in small regions like Haryana, it's not exactly a small region, but in terms of reading, as far as reading goes, we would find very less people come to read either novels or anything. But as soon as we move to the cities like our own, we see a lot of students, a lot of my friends are fanatics about novels or certain writers. If a book drops by that writer, they would have to be reading it. So I think there is a general divide. Obviously, the precipitation for people who read English books is kind of less, but that doesn't show anything. I think having read books alone is a very good stature to have, and a lot of people are reading books, be it regional or not.
Or for this query, guys, especially if you are part of some area where books are not read, then you would say like, okay, people are not interested in reading books. But you never know. If you just go to some metropolitan city, you will find maximum people would be reading English books, guys. Okay, so means you should be updated about these sort of things. Yes, you just require. So yes, this is for you. Which is the book you would like to recommend to others? This is the toughest query for everyone. Like
there
you
is
would
a-
like to recommend. Yeah.
There is a book, there is a writer specifically, Devdutt Patnaik. I personally haven't read many of his works, but I've read a lot of his excerpts, and we were given a lot of his texts to read by ourselves also. Other than that, Nandita Das, the director for films, also happens to be a magnificent writer. So like we got excerpts for her books when she came to our college for her promotion of films. So like there was a book written by her, it's called The God of Small Things. If you read one page from that book, one day of your life will become more beautiful. And it will be like such a reward. You will want to read another page because it felt so good. You keep on reading. That book is a drug, my friend. God of Small Things will get you addicted to reading. I don't read that book because if I start reading that book, sir, I'm afraid I will not stop reading books. I keep away from it. There is a statutory warning on the book. If you are in the ages 21 to 29, do not read this book without surveillance. It's kind of crazy because that book is not about how to get things, or it's not about worldly topics. God of Small Things.
Okay. So, is there any library in your city?
Well, as I hail from a countryside area, so there is no library to read books. So whenever I want to read books, so I pay my personal visit at Sirsa for reading the books.
Okay. So, are you frequent visitor of a library?
I wouldn't say so, sir. I would be lying if I said that I've been visiting the libraries here often. Luckily, I was studying in Gurgaon right now. I've been staying there for a month or two now. I happen to live across one of the most famous libraries in Gurgaon there. It's a very old regional library. It contains texts generally regarding prehistoric elements and times of wars and history. I personally like reading history a lot. It's really enjoyable. In Sirsa, however, I didn't get that connection with reading yet. Having been Gurgaon and living next to a library, I feel like going there every day. So every day, once I'm done waking up and freshening up, before my class, I go there. I study there also, and if I get the chance to attend my classes at the library as well. There are private libraries in Sirsa, many of them. 2 of them are owned by my own friend. I'm sure you must have heard about it also. There are no books there, but it's a reading space for you to, like, you could go on a monthly basis. You could take your own books and you could read there. Having a zone like that makes reading more fun. That is also there. So yeah, libraries are fun.
Okay, so how can we promote reading habits of people?
I think this class environment is the best place to have this experiment at. So I'll give you a tiny example from my sister used to work in a school in Gurgaon back then. She doesn't anymore, but the pattern of that school was very unique. So there weren't any walls or books in that school. There was no uniform, there was nothing. The child used to, it was for pre-primary kids. The child used to come to class, he has the option to attend the class or not. The teacher's job is to make sure that the child is indulged and interested in things. So randomly the teacher would ask, children, do you know why the sky is blue? And the children would get excited. Some would say because that or because this or because that. Every brain in the room suddenly starts getting jumbled up from the core. Now they are looking for an answer. The teacher just asked a question and now the children are all gassled up. One is pulling out a laptop from the office, one is going home to ask mom and dad. So they created curiosity. Now tomorrow, there are no books in the school by the way. Each child came with a document, a folder full of pages. Or some came with their phones, some child came with their laptops. They are allowed to do this. The school's motive is to teach you things, not how. So you are allowed to bring whatever you, if it helps you learn, bring it to the school. They brought books with them that their mothers or father gave them to read about. They were themselves reading. Wanting to know something is all you need. Reading can be boring, but if you have we call it pyas in our language. If we can understand wanting to know something like that, you would read books, you would read anything, you would read articles, name it, you would read posters on streets if you want to know. Wanting to know something, having the curiosity for something, that's what you need. Books to come and go.
Okay, yes. What is the significance of festivals?
Well, as per my notion, festivals are worth considered because if there are no festivals, so how the new generation can come to know about the cultural heritages and all. So that's why, as per my notion, it is more significant and potential.
Very good. So, do you celebrate a festival which you love the most, just for celebration?
I think it's only right if I'm being honest here. There came a time where I was a certain age where the feeling for celebration kind of deteriorated away. I found when I was in 8th grade, I no longer found myself interested in Diwalis. I liked the puja and the whole gifting ceremonies and everything, but going out and bursting crackers was something I was no longer interested in personally. Yes, festivals, we can talk about the cultural reference that it has. We can talk about how it is an important thing for us humans to do. But personally, as a kid, I found myself kind of deteriorating away. So like if there is Holi, I acknowledge it. If there is a puja at home, great, perfect. I'm meeting my friends, eating something, but not really the celebrating element of it. I personally felt very detached.
Okay, so do you think festivals have some commercial value also?
Oh, definitely. I think that is the reason why I cannot anymore have emotional values to it. Diwali is more of a stage to sell you the best microwave ever than Ramji coming to his home. I think that is the disconnect where I kind of can't celebrate anything anymore. Personally, I'm not doing much to pray to Ram also myself. I'm also a bad student. But what I'm saying is, I don't think I have the right to celebrate Diwali if I don't know the significance of Diwali. So I keep away. I think I'll be able to celebrate Holi or Diwali better if I know what they are, who they are about, what stories they are talking about. I personally think that way. I don't think I should enter any mandir if I don't know what God I'm praying to. And most of us don't here.
Very good. Out of track. Talk about the commercial value. You started talking about Diwali. Talk about
Of
the
festivals,
commercial.
sir.
Yeah.
Of festivals. I began my topic at how Diwali is a better microwave selling scheme. If that is not commerce, sir, then I don't know what is.
That is commerce, but later on, nothing was there related to commerce. You started talking about something else.
Festivals are the perfect ground for...
Or it also happens, guys, in final exam sometimes. You get emotional.
But sir, honestly, I am giving you the exact answers that I gave to my examiner that day. That got me 9 bands, and that's the difference between here and me. Honestly, these are the kind of answers I gave. I was personal to
But
it.
here, I think, I personally believe.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah.
All festivals today have ended up being more of a way to sell you schemes. And it is obviously a commercial based activity more than anything. More than actually celebrating Diwali, I see parents and like children excited about what more they can get today. Even if we go out of India, Black Friday, keeping away from what its historical reference or significance was, is the biggest sale that America gets. You wait for Black Friday so that you can buy your things, like buy the things that you exactly want. That commercial value, obviously, it strips away the culture. It destroys what the festival once used to be. It used to be a cultural activity to bring people and hearts together. Now it's a cultural activity to bring your money and everything together and how you can spend it most wisely that day. And every festival is like that. And as long as there are humans and markets and banks, this won't change.
Okay, so let's talk about movies. Okay, so what sort of movies are popular in this era?
Luckily, there is a plethora of ideas and a, like an endless stream of genres today. Earlier, it used to be a very stagnant pace that boy meets girl, either the girl is rich or the boy is rich. There was a formula of films being used for a very long time. Now, that belief has been slowly shattering away. When I'm talking about just our cinema, our Indian industry alone, we see regional ideas coming. We see Ayushmann Khurrana, he ends up taking scripts that should come from a street in Delhi or Haryana. It should be a story of a common man. That when I watch the film, I feel like, oh, ye to meri gali hai. That kind of feeling, that there is in our studies also, there was a specific term given, every manness. Every man hyphen ness. That was that whenever, whoever watches this film in whatever time frame, he should be able to relate to this film. Now, I was no longer able to relate to Govinda dancing in the mountains. There came a time where I kind of grew bored of it. I wanted stories that related to me and my life. So we see a very different trend of films coming. We see a lot of people regionally watching English films but dubbed. That trend is also, it's huge. It's been here from a very long time. But I personally know people in Sirsa who are way excited about the new Avengers dropping than a Suryavansham. That's there.
Okay, which type of movies do you like, by the
Do
way?
I like?
Yeah.
I would obviously, I love drama. Like that's a field that I personally expertised in. Like in terms of script writing, story writing, as far as story writing goes, I think a drama film script is more, it's very elusive. In the sense, like every person in the room will have one or two memories that he'll be able to, oh yeah, that's something like that happened in my life also. Or something like, oh, I wish something like that happens in my life also. These are tricks the story writer uses to gauge our minds inside the film. Like if I write a script and you have the time to look on your phone or look away or go out of the theatre, that's a bad story. Like I failed you, technically. So I think drama is the best kind of film, according to me, that I would any given day watch.
Okay, as you have been part of drama, so you must be having your favorite star also from Bollywood.
Not typically, but I have some, yeah, I have some.
Yes, please talk about that.
Nasiruddin Shah, without a doubt. His film came in 1991 or 1990. It was one of the old films. It was the first film he acted in. I think it was 1889. Anyway, but the film was called Angry Young Man. Have you heard of it? No one? Yeah, that was the first film Nasiruddin Shah acted in. You've seen the film?
No.
Yeah, but you've heard of the film. I'm sure your parents must have told you about it. Brilliant film. Like it was a film, no film like that has been made in India up till now, I think. But it's such a unique concept. It's about a Christian boy. His name is Jacob. And he's a car engineer. That story, this setting alone, like let's not talk about the story at all. But this setting alone, a Christian car mechanic in Goa. I'm interested already. And the film is called Angry Young Man. It's about his anger and him not being able to control his anger. It was such a unique story. And everyone could relate to it. Drama, check. Nasiruddin Shah's amazing acting, check. Amazing storyline, check. I'm sold. Take my money.
Okay. So should movies be censored?
There's a that's a wild debate right there. Would you believe it or not, sir? In our film school, that used to be the debate. It is like there is no
Obviously.
endless. It is endless, and mostly it's because we as filmmakers, we as film students wanted to be like, we'll show whatever we want to in our films. We this that. We would come down to dharnas in front of our buildings that we really want to stand up against it. And then there was the kind of students and teachers who would tell us, how can you produce, okay, like you made a book and it was poisonous. Somehow it was poisonous or it could hurt feelings. But would you mass produce that book? Would you let everyone touch that book and get sick? No, right? Like, but it's up to them to buy the book or not. So this debate is endless. But censorship, as far as censorship goes, is a way of, like, we have a funnel. So we put all our milk through the funnel. That which is not required or is not good for our milk is funneled out. We get only the pure milk left outside. Likewise, a film is full of ideas. Ideas that could hurt people, ideas that could help people. So we put our film through the funnel of the censor board. Luckily, our ex-owner just left a year or two ago. That was quite the time. But now the current person is a little more lenient.
So do you think censor board is fair? Or that is paid?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this, but yes, it's fair to some, but it's fairer to people who are rich. It is sad. Like when a small group of students like me go to the person and he's like, okay, you want this film to work out, you need an extra lakh rupees.
Very good. So, yes, there is the trend of biopics nowadays.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. I'll have to invitations on me.
Okay, yes, you may. So, biopic.
Yes, sir.
So, just talk about like, are really means whatever is shown in the movie, okay, in biopics, they are quite authentic.
Far from authentic, sir. So, this fan is turning. How can I milk this idea? The fan turns. The fan is turning due to centrifugal force, and there is inertia taking place in the bottom half of the fan, and that is allowing the fans to rotate at a certain pace. I could milk and stretch this idea as much as I can, but at the end of the day, it's a stupid fan revolving. Biopic films is doing exactly that. Milkha Singh just ran 2 races, my friend, and that is a very proud Indian moment. Don't get me wrong, but that kind of drama never took place in his life. We stretched it too far. Okay, then a trend began. Mary Kom, all the boxers that you never knew about, suddenly started getting films about them. I think it's kind of strange that a human mind can be sold based on a true story. Like, I'm ready to give away my kidneys to based upon a true story. Things like it happens. Okay, randomly, what was that actor there was a film of Sanju, right? Sanju. The film was Sanju, no? Like, I now am watching a film about an actor, and there's another actor acting. Why not hire the same guy? Like that, he's poor, right? He's not getting much films. Like, hire Sanju, no, for Sanju. No, but it's based on a true story. You will watch it. We call it like, there's a scheme. There's a disease. As much as
in Sachin Tendulkar, I think.
Yeah.
Sachin performed.
Dhoni.
No,
Oh my
Sachin.
God, how many are there?
Sachin.
Himself performed.
Yeah, and it was not big hit. That's why they hired better one.
So actually, the idea of having a biopic.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I think if Mahendra Singh himself could have performed,
Yeah.
I think movie would not be having that much success.
Definitely, it's nice that we let the doctors do the doctory. It's best that we let the actors do the acting. If we let Lata Mangeshkar play cricket for us, we'll be doomed. But sir, the very idea of having a biopic film, no, the script is flawed. See, now the thing is, in a biopic film, we are taking ideas from real incidents of a person's life. A person's life is not very interesting at times, so you have to put masalas into it. You put all kinds of things and incidents that didn't really take place. So once that happens, is it a true story anymore? It could be any cricketer. It's elongated now. Likewise, I think the idea of a biopic film is kind of flawed. There can be more work. It could be inspired from true events and based on true events are different films, mind you. Like there are, if you notice, films are either inspired or based upon true events. The distinction between these two can be the difference between our minds.
So that's all about this session as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Be in touch.